Hey everyone, this is Caly. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm sharing a really fun and colorful shaker card using card kit contents for July 2024. The card kit features the Sunny Smile set. It's a 6x8 clear stamp full of fun images and great sentiments. There is a coordinating die for this stamp set, so if you want it outside of the card kit, you'll have to purchase it separately. For today's card, I'm going to use the large round sun rays as well as that happy smiley face to make my shaker. At the end of the video, I'm going to share 2 more cards that use a few more images from the stamp set as well as other products from the card kit, so be sure to hang around until the very end to see those. To stamp the sun rays, I'm using honey ink. It's a great, dark, rich yellow color, and I love it and think it's perfect for the sun ray. Super simple, and the rest of my card is super simple because it's all stamping except for making the shaker portion. I'm going to stamp the sun rays twice to make sure there's good saturation all the way around. Then keeping this panel inside my MISTI, we're going to stamp the sentiment. These words are all individual stamps, so I'll curve them around the sun, 3 at the top and then 2 at the bottom that says, "You are my sunshine." And then I know this sounds crazy, but I'm going to stamp each letter individually in an array of rainbow colors. I have a bunch of positively saturated ink cubes up here, and they are perfect for stamping small areas such as these little letters. I know it's a little tedious to stamp and then have to clean up the letters before stamping and then making sure that your panel gets tucked back into the corner every time. But I assure you, once the project is done and everything is super colorful and happy, that it's well worth the extra effort. My rainbow letters go from pink to purple, and I've added lots of extra shades of colors in there to make sure that these colors are happy and fun. The Y is obviously the easiest. You stamp it, you don't have to worry about it getting on any other extra letters. But when I get to the O, it's in the middle of the word. So I'm wiping excess ink off the U as well as the Y if there is any, and making sure I get great coverage, so I'm stamping each letter at least 2 times. So it is a little tedious going between, and I highly recommend a cloth of some sort that is damp. It's going to help you be able to get any unwanted ink off the areas that you don't want them to be on, and it will dry right away. You don't have to worry about going back in with a dry cloth. I'm using a stamp chamois. It's damp, but it's almost borderline dry. That way I can wipe off any excess ink and remove ink from previous letters, but not have any excess fluid that's left behind from scrubbing the stamps. I hope that makes sense. When I'm done with the word "you," I just remove the stamp from my MISTI because I don't need it anymore. And what's great about these words are they're short, right? So there's not a lot of cleaning to do, and I'm not overlapping a bunch of letters with the ink, in which case I would need to be wiping a lot more ink off letters. Okay, so I think you get the gist of it. I'm stamping in a rainbow order, 1 letter at a time, which sounds crazy of me. But I am going to cut out a few things like cleaning the stamps between each letter prior to stamping so that I can save some time and save you from having to watch that over and over again. So I'm just finishing up my last word for the top row here, and have you noticed that I'm having to readjust my magnet and my cardstock each and every time? I've had people tell me you need to use your magnet. Well, this is the reason why I don't use it sometimes. I have to shift it every time, and it just seems a little counterproductive. But I'm using it in this video, and I'm being extra patient. This card requires patience to stamp each and every letter individually so that you can get this rainbow effect. I'm finishing up the word sunshine now, and I try to put the 2 words together because I believe sunshine is 1 word, but this stamp has it separated, which I'm grateful for this purpose because I am stamping each letter at a time. So that makes it a little bit easier to stamp, but I'm trying to squeeze that N and the S together as close as possible so sunshine looks like 1 word. You'll notice I completed the rainbow at the start of the word sunshine, so I just start again with the beginning of the rainbow in the inks that I chose. Alrighty, so we are almost done here with our rainbow sentiment, and I'm loving how it looks, but I'm also so grateful that I haven't had to start over. So just make sure you tuck that paper into the corner after every stamp. So now that my panel is done, I get to turn this into a shaker. If you had the coordinating dies, you can use the die to cut out the window, but since I don't, I'm going to use my retractable knife to cut an X at the center of the sun. And I'm running the blade over my cardstock over my Positively Perfect craft pad so that I don't cut or accidentally scratch my glass board behind it. Cutting that X into the paper will give me a nice clean cut, and it'll also allow me to make room for my scissors to make their way in there so that I can cut all the way around to create this open window for a shaker card. Before I do anything else, I want to trim down this panel as much as I can. I'm not able to cut off much because the sentiment takes up so much space, but I do want a mat all the way around my card. So I'm cutting 1/8 of an inch off roughly, and this is going to allow me to have a colorful cardstock all the way around this happy card. Now that the panel is trimmed down, I'm going to turn it over so that I can adhere some acetate to the back of it. I'm going to use some lightweight clear acetate here. It's a great acetate. It's still heat resistant, but I love that it's thin. Off camera, I trimmed it down to fit, and I'm going to use some red line tape. It's a really strong and durable adhesive that I really trust. I've had other dry adhesives fall apart on me, so this is the one I go to if I'm going to make an interactive card or a shaker card because I don't want stuff like that falling apart. Okay, so the shaker window is ready. I've cut another piece of cardstock that will fit behind that window, and I'm going to stamp the smiley face right in the center of it. This piece is going to be the shaker window background, and it's going to be where I fill my sequins for the shaker card. So this shaker isn't above the card panel, it's going to be below. I stamped the smiley face with some crisp black ink, and just to make sure, because we're going to be ink blending this with some yellow ink, I want to make sure that ink is good and dry and doesn't smear. So I heat set it just to be sure, and then I'm going to ink blend this smiley face with Zest ink, which is a little lighter than the honey and is the middle of the trio of colors that Zest and honey belong to. And because I wanted this smiley face to have some blush, I'm using some cheeky ink and using a sponge applicator to sponge on some rosy cheeks. And that just makes this smiley face all the cuter. Then I'll take my front card panel and just make sure that there's enough room to go all the way around this face here with some 3D foam strips to serve as a tray for all the embellishments that I'm going to put into this shaker window. The 3D foam strips and this mermaid tail embellishment mix is a part of the card kit. So I'm telling you, it's a great card kit, and I hope you get everything you need to create some fun shaker cards and some other non-shaker cards as well. I'm going to move the confetti around so that I can see the face. That way I can center my panel right over that happy face, and that finishes the shaker portion of this card. Now remember, I said I wanted a mat of colored cardstock of some sort. The card kit also comes with the new Bright Bolds Color Blends pack. So I'm using the orange to yellow blend here, and I think it coordinates perfectly with the Zest and honey inks that I used for the sun. Now for the back of this card panel, I'm adding some 3D foam strips on top and at the bottom where there's an overhang and a height difference. After attaching that to my color blend panel, I'll attach it to a card base, and that finishes my fun shaker card for today's video. As promised, I am going to share 2 other projects that I made. This is the one that I made for the social media reel. It uses the Happy Day acetate. This acetate sheet does come in a pack so that you can buy more if you want, that comes with other rainbow patterns. This one happens to be foiled with a rainbow foil, so that's super fun. I just wanted to share that with you, and then I turned it into a shaker with that same sun image from the Sunny Smile stamp set. Then this third card is one that I created for release night, and I used those images from the Sunny Smile set at the bottom. I isolated each of those blocks for the sun rays and did the same thing where I stamped in rainbow order. And then the You Brighten My Day sentiment die is also from the card kit, which I die cut using a pink piece of color blend that blends into the yellow. I hope you enjoyed these card samples and that it inspires you to create. If you're interested in the card kit or any of the products that I used, be sure to check out the links below. Everything will be linked for your convenience. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.